Are you thinking of buying your first home, but you're not really sure where to begin or what to do first? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 12 tips if you're a first-time home buyer looking to buy your very first home. My name is Dawn Dickinson and I am a realtor in Northern Arizona. The channel is Living in Northern Arizona, where I post videos every single week about living in the Northern Arizona towns. If you ever have a question about buying or selling a property in Arizona, my contact information is always in the description below, and feel free to give me a call, email, or a text and I will get back to you. So let's start with the very first thing. If you're looking to buy a home, you've never done it before, you're not really sure what to do, I would recommend the very first thing you do is sit down and take a good look at your finance. Now, you're going to probably, unless you have cash, and probably don't, if you're a first-time home buyer, you're probably going to need to consult with a loan officer. So before you do that, you want to think about what kind of a budget you feel comfortable with. Take a look at any credit card debt you have. You're probably going to want to pay that off if you can, although you may want to wait and talk to your loan officer first. Look about your bills. What do you feel comfortable paying? Start thinking about your employment. You want to start thinking about where you're going to get your pay stubs, because you'll be needing to give those to your loan officer. If you are a self-employed person, chances are you might need tax returns for 2 years, but if you don't have that, maybe some 1099s that you are getting your income. But get all of this type of stuff together and get a budget started, get an idea what you feel comfortable, because your step number 2 is going to be consult with a loan officer, a mortgage company, and see what you can get pre-qualified for. Now, the loan officer is going to take all of the documentation that you need, and so you're going to need to very quickly turn all that information over to them. What your expenses are, what kind of, do you have a car payment, do you have credit card payments, what kind of an income do you have, probably going to need pay stubs, or like I was saying, a 1099, possibly tax returns. So be prepared to gather this type of information for your loan officer consult, and then the loan officer will give you a pre-qualification form so you can begin shopping for a home. And once you do that, you'll have a better idea of what your budget could be, about what price of a home that you could afford. You'll have the consult with the loan officer, very important, because that not only tells you what you can afford to buy, what you can afford to shop for, but they're going to give you a pre-qualification form that you could give to your real estate agent once you begin looking for a home. And that, of course, brings me to your step 3, is to find a qualified local real estate agent who will help you sort through all of the questions that you have about buying your first home. So very important, probably want to look around and interview a couple of buyer's agents. There are several places that you can find. Of course, you will have word of mouth with people that maybe your friends have worked with before. A good place to find real estate agents is on YouTube. If you start Googling the areas that you're interested in moving to, but you want somebody who is honest and somebody that knows the area that you're looking to buy. Another thing that's very important is, I know, so I live in Northern Arizona, for example. We'll have a lot of people that are in Phoenix, say, thinking about let's move somewhere north, and they might think they're going to get an agent that they know, like maybe their buddy from Phoenix or from Scottsdale or from Gilbert, who thinks, oh yeah, I can sell you a place in Flagstaff, or I can sell you a place in Cottonwood. But chances are there are 2 things that you might want to not do this. One is they may not subscribe to the local MLS, which is where you're going to see all the houses for sale in the area that you're looking. And 2, they really don't know the area that you're looking to, and it's best to find somebody who's familiar with the area you're looking to so that they can find something for you that's going to work best. Now, number 3 is consider, where do you want to live? If you work in a certain area, you're probably going to want to live close to your home, or possibly you would rather live close to your family, but make up your mind what areas that you want to look in and start doing your research on neighborhoods in that area. So think, what is more important to you, living close to your job? Actually, when you're young, that's kind of an important thing, to live close to work. But if you have a young family, say, maybe you want to live closer to your parents or somebody who's going to be watching your children while you're at work. So all those type of considerations on where you want to move, very important. And then once you decide where you want to move, very important to find a realtor who is familiar with the area that you're wanting to land in. Number 5 is to come up with a list of features that you need to have in your home and prioritize. Make sure that you come up with at least 3 to 5 things that are very important to you. And I'm not talking about superficial thing. Probably the most important thing is going to be a price. It has to be in your price point. Another thing you may want to consider is the size. Do you need to have 2 bathrooms, for instance? Like if you have a child living with you, you probably want to have 2 bathrooms. Do you need to have 3 bedrooms, or could you have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath for now, and then when you upgrade to a bigger house in 3 to 5 years, will you be able to get your 3rd or 4th bedroom at that point? So don't be too picky over little things. Find out what's the most important. Do you need a 2nd bathroom? Do you need a fenced-in yard? Do you want to have a garage? Do you need to have just a covered carport? Would that be okay? So prioritize your things and communicate that with your agent so that you can start shopping for houses and that your agent can give you a list of homes that meet the most important criteria. And don't fret over stuff like, oh, I don't like the color of the cabinets, or this isn't a quartz countertop, it's from mica. Don't worry about those kind of things, because those can be swapped out later. Now, number 6 is to consider your resale value of the houses that you are looking at, because chances are if you're young, you're not going to stay in this house for the rest of your life. So it's important when finding your first home that knowing that you may want to sell the place in 3 to 5 years, that it doesn't have any serious flaws like being on a very busy street or being in a noisy area, say backing up to a Walmart or something, that would keep buyers from wanting it in 2 or 3 years when you're ready to upgrade, especially because you don't ever know what's going to happen to the market in 2 or 3 years when you're ready to sell. If it's a slower market, you definitely don't want to have any big flaws like that. Okay, number 7 is to be realistic about what you need. Again, we touched on this a little bit. I do see a lot of people thinking, well, I'm going to have 5 kids, and so I need this big house. And again, if that's 15 years down the road, again, nice to have, but be realistic about what you need right now. Other things to be realistic about is I see a lot of people come into a house and they're like, oh, I don't like houses with carpet. Well, carpet is something that you can easily swap out after you move in or right before you move in. You can fix the carpet by ripping it out and replacing it with tile or wood or vinyl planking that will hold up and be more durable, but maybe you can get a better deal on a house that has carpet. Don't get those little details in the way. Be realistic. Get into a home that works for you regarding your budget and your size and your location, and then you can always upgrade or remodel a little bit later on. Number 8 is not to rule out affordable options that might suit your budget right now, but you don't want that. Say like, oh, I want to have a single family home, but yet your budget says maybe a townhouse, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath townhouse in a nice community and nice area could be a better option for now. Again, you can always sell it 2 and 3 years down the road, or maybe a newer model manufactured home would work better for your budget. Again, you can have plenty of nice manufactured homes on their own land, and they are usually a more affordable option. So don't rule out other options that will work for you just because in your head you think that, oh, my parents had this and this is what I want. Well, maybe your parents didn't buy that house until they were 40. So again, just be realistic of what you can afford in your budget and don't start ruling out options that might be a good fit for you because you're thinking 10, 15 years down the line. Number 9 is to review the HOA rules either right before you make an offer or during the due diligence process. So look at the CC&Rs or any restrictions that you might see by the HOA. Do they have rules that you can't live with? Say, do they have something that says you can only have 2 30-pound pets and you've got a golden retriever? That could be a deal killer, so you want to know that up front. If you don't know it before you've written the offer and you're under contract, you have 10 days in the due diligence period, or it might not be 10 days, whatever is written in your contract, to review all the things about the home and look at those HOA rules and see if there's anything that you can't handle, and that will give you the opportunity to back out if those HOA rules are too strict. And that brings me to number 11, which would be to hire a home inspector, a licensed home inspector, as soon as you have your contract accepted so that he can come in and look at the home and see what kind of shape it is in during your due diligence period. Now, let me back up a little bit and tell you about the due diligence period. Written in the contract, it's going to say the default in Arizona is 10 days. I usually right in at 12 days, but you have a certain amount of time where you can do all your inspections on the home. And here's where you're going to want to hire a licensed home inspector and probably a termite inspection to find anything that might be wrong. Do you have termites? If you do, you're going to want to ask the seller to fix the termites or to remedy the termites. Do you want to have the inspector look at the roof, look at the foundation, look at the air conditioning, look at the plumbing, and will give a written report. And at that point, you get together with your real estate agent and you review the home inspection report and see, is it stuff that you can live with? So maybe the home inspector will say, well, the roof is 15 years old, you might have to replace it in 5 years. And then you could say, well, will I be able to handle that situation? And then at that point, you can decide if I want to continue with the contract, or maybe you want to ask the seller to fix some stuff that comes up. So again, during your due diligence period, you're going to want to hire all of your home inspectors, which would be at least a licensed home inspector and a termite inspector, and anything else that is important to you to discover during your inspection period. Number 11 is to not get discouraged during the home buying process. Sometimes you can get frustrating where you've looked at 2 or 3 or 4 homes and you really haven't found anything that you like yet. That can happen. Remember, this is a big purchase and it might take time. Now, sometimes you could find something right away. Sometimes the first 1 or 2 houses you find something that you like, but sometimes it might take more. It might take 4 or 5 houses. I've seen it where I've had to take out people to see a dozen houses before they find something they like. And occasionally you will write an offer on a place that you think is perfect for you and you don't get the offer because somebody else gave a better offer. Or another thing that could happen is you would write an offer and you get a counter offer that you're not comfortable. Don't get discouraged if you don't find something immediately. And that's why it's important to find a real estate agent who you are comfortable with working with, someone who is patient with you, who's going to help you walk through the process, and somebody who's going to be able to listen to what you're looking for and to understand your needs so that you can have the best outcome. Okay, my last tip for first-time home buyers is to plan for moving day in advance. So you're going to have to do things like hire movers, you're going to have to turn on utilities, you're going to have to shop for homeowners insurance, you're going to have to order a home warranty. Actually, your agent can help you with that. Think of all these things in advance, but I wouldn't start doing any of those things before you've passed the due diligence period, but just plan in advance so that the last minute you're not a day before closing and you're looking to buy some homeowners insurance or turn on your utilities. Think about all those things in advance. So that's my 12 tips for first-time home buyers. My name is Dawn Dickinson. The channel is Living in Northern Arizona. I post videos every single week about living in the northern half of the state of Arizona. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please consider subscribing to the channel for more information like this. And if you're ever looking to buy or sell a home in Arizona, my contact information is always in the description below. If you want to give me a call, text, or email, I will get back to you. And I hope to see you back here again on the channel next week.